Going to get better. And yeah, we've got the Chiefs and the Raiders once again. Now, remember the last time they faced off, and of course the Raiders won this game, but it was really in the second half where the Raiders started to take control. They played exactly how they needed to, and the Chiefs, admittedly on their end, were not up to par. The question is, can this be done again? And listen, when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, you'd like to have your full defensive complement like all week long. Field Yates here with us. The Raiders have a lot of their defense on the reserve COVID-19 list. So what is the path for them to play in this game?
Yeah, Laura, unfortunately for the Raiders, this is actually familiar territory, as it was just a few weeks ago where basically the entire Raiders offensive line was unable to practice during the week coming off of their bye because of contact tracing. Well, as you just said, much of their defense unable to practice right now as they are also in contact tracing. The path to them all playing is continuing to test negative. The expectation is that tomorrow by 4 p.m. Eastern time, many of those players, if not all of the players that have been placed on COVID-19 because of close contact, not those that have tested positive, will be removed from the list. The last barrier is to test negative again on Sunday. As we know, that's the case for every NFL player, but because these guys have been classified as high-risk close contacts, we'll watch their tests even closer. I would say this, though, Laura, the NFL feels pretty good about this game, all things considered. As we know, the last time the Raiders were in this situation, their Sunday night primetime game got moved out of the window. Here they are, still scheduled to play Sunday night at 8 o'clock against the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's a good point, Field. Stay right there. We got more coming from you. Ryan, you just heard what Field Yates had to say about this and the Raiders defense. What do you think the impact is of those guys not being able to practice really that much ahead of this game?
Oh, well, shoot, you hope it's the type of impact that not practicing had on Ben Roethlisberger, because if you can do that, then why ever practice? Just stay at home and homeschool your kids. But when you're looking at the Raiders and going up against Patrick Mahomes, it's almost like it doesn't even matter anyway. You know what he's going to do. You know what type of player he's going to be. Maybe resting helps. And the thing I worry about with this defense is if it's the secondary players. The secondary is extremely young. The secondary needs that type of communication during the week. You need to be able to understand what you're going to get out of certain formations and have it play out before you. Because when you're going up against Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes, the thing you don't want to be is confused. The thing you don't want to be is on a different page, because any type of crease, any type of opening, they can take advantage of it. So that's going to be the huge part. Do you understand the playbook? Do you know what you need to do?
Listen, I hate that these players have to go through this, but it didn't matter. Patrick Mahomes about to go crazy. Everybody know it. Everybody understands what transpired in the first game of the season against the Raiders. The Raiders took a Nipsey Hussle victory lap around the stadium. All of that stuff is being calculated. You and I, L Boogie, we talk. L Boogie is what I call Laura Rutledge, America. You and I talked to Travis Kelce a few days ago, all right? And Travis Kelce said he didn't hold people accountable. He held himself responsible for not playing the way that they're supposed to play. And I believe the Kansas City Chiefs angry is the scariest thing in the NFL. And that's what they'll be against the Raiders. And if the Raiders can somehow produce offensively like they did in the first game, I'm going to go to Kansas City and pull Steve Spagnuolo aside and ask him, why in the hell couldn't you stop the Raiders from putting up 40 points twice? Okay? But outside of that, Patrick Mahomes and this offense and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, listen, I'm going. If they give up 40, I'm going to Kansas City. All right? And the bottom line is this. The Kansas City Chiefs offense and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes are petty. They are petty, but petty in a good way. Don't think for a second that they're not going to try to put on an offensive extravaganza against the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, Mina.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mina, Derek Carr had a couple of really nice throws in that game last time when they beat the Chiefs. So how can he perform so well in this game that Marcus Spears has to go to Kansas City?
He did, Laura. He was excellent in that game, and it kind of unlocked something in Derek Carr, right? Which was specifically the deep ball. He's been a different guy since then. He's been actually really good this season. He's the best quarterback that we're not really talking about. Third down, QBR. Best quarterback in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes. Second best has been Derek Carr. I think drafting Ruggs has really been great for him. Aguilar has been excellent too. And they're going to have to be excellent in this game because Marcus is right. This is going to be a horse race. Like all they can do is try to keep up. I've been trying to think of another Jeezy joke ever since you said "go crazy, Marcus," and I've been struggling. But I think you were spot on with that one. The Dope Boys are coming to town, so it's all on Derek Carr, man. It's a lot of pressure on him, but he has been playing up to that standard.
Yeah, listen, why are no one's talking about Gucci? Like, everyone's just talking about Jeezy. I guess
Jeezy better shout out NFL Live.
Yeah, he better. By the way, the Chiefs and the Raiders scoring on over 52% of their drives. That ranks first and second in the NFL on the leaderboard this season. Let's get some more injury news with Field Yates, and we begin with Drew Lock. Field, what do you know about him?
Yeah, Drew Lock has been banged up this week, Laura. We got a lot of quarterback injuries, but this one I think is the most up in the air. He's been dealing with some ribs issues. A guy that obviously has missed time once so far this season. It could be Brett Rippon taking snaps for the Broncos. Other quarterbacks to keep an eye on include Teddy Bridgewater, who, of course, left last week's game late because of a knee injury, officially listed as questionable. And then Matthew Stafford has that thumb issue that's been bothering him a bit this week, has been limited and practiced quite a bit as a result of it. Tough guy. I expect him to be out there on Sunday for the Lions. And some recent news from the Packers, and good news at that, is that Davante Adams, their all-everything wide receiver, sat out practice Wednesday, Thursday as well. He's not even on the injury report. That tells you everything you need to know. We are at the point of the season where load management will be a thing for teams. So Davante Adams will be good to go. And they play the Colts on Sunday, who have been one of the best pass defenses in the entire NFL.
Yeah, good news for Aaron Rodgers, though, either way. All right, talk to me about Myles Garrett, placed on the reserve COVID-19 list, not going to play on Sunday against the Eagles. What else do we know about him?
Yeah, Laura, interesting news this morning. As just minutes apart, the Browns released two separate statements, one saying that a player had tested positive for COVID-19. Minutes later, they announced they were placing Myles Garrett on the reserve COVID-19 list. Now, I think people are going to assume that means he has tested positive, as he has been out of the building for a few days experiencing some flu-like symptoms. We do not know for sure, and teams are not allowed to disclose if a player has tested positive. Here's what we know, though. He's out for Sunday's game against the Eagles. And we'll see. He could be in some peril of missing next week's game as well. And when you talk about the list of Defensive Player of the Year candidates, if Myles Garrett's not at the top of it, he's right there, just a spot below Aaron Donald. Those two have been at another level this year. So this is a big, big blow for the Browns in a huge game on Sunday.
Yeah, Myles Garrett leads the NFL this season with 9.5 sacks, also tied with Marlon Humphrey for the league lead with 4 forced fumbles. Marcus, how big of a deal is it to be without Myles Garrett?
It's a huge deal, and I know Carson Wentz is a man of faith, and he understands that prayer changes things. Because I'd have been praying for Myles Garrett not to play too, based on what he's been doing all season long. But this definitely makes it a bit harder for everybody else around him. The thing about Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, and we talk about these guys in this vein, is that he makes things easier for all of the guys around him. This defense benefits from the fact that Myles Garrett is on the field. You have to slide protection. You have to make sure you have an extra blocker over there for him. So he initiates plan changes for the offenses that he's going against. Trust me, Doug Peterson had a plan in place to try to handle Myles Garrett. That's what these type of players do. I played with DeMarcus Ware. It was the same way.